Hi guys, welcome to the show. I'm Jake and this is Kern. This is episode number 48 about buying a domain or forwarding a domain. And we're also going to be talking about several other things. And today is June 3rd, 2018.
Yes, I'm going to cover buying a domain name, which we do at the end of the year for our graduating seniors. We'll talk about that. Jake's going to talk about Patreon, what that is.
Yep.
We have one of our younger tech Sherpas is a second grader, Rosa, who's going to, through video, tell us a little bit about a program called Stop Motion Studio, which is an iPad app. And finally, a little bit from the Thinking Machine, the Infinite Thinking Machine. We have an invite from Chris Walsh, who we were talking about the tech Sherpas, so we wanted to make sure we get a plug for that. So let's start with the domain name forwarding and explain what that is and how that works. We start our accounts for our students, are actually Google accounts we use, all the way from very young, from kindergarten on. And it's not that our kindergarten kids are logging into their accounts. What they're doing is they're using those to store their work for their digital portfolios. When they graduate from our high school, they move that content, that work they've been working on, hopefully for 12 years, all the way into their own personal account, which is that's what they take with them in their own Gmail account. Our final step of that process is we buy our graduating seniors their own web domain name. We buy, like jakemcEwen.com, for example. We would buy his web domain name and we would forward that address to his digital portfolio. The benefit of that, the reason why we do that, is so that when kids go to a job interview or go to a college interview, they can go to and say, hey, go to jakemcEwen.com. Here I am. Here's all my stuff. Here's my, the stuff I've been working on. And they can customize it. They can make it be exactly what they want it to be. So we're going to go through a little bit about that process of what we do, how we do those steps, and we buy those domains, and walk through step by step. So let's do a quick screen share here. Desktop. And here is selecting a domain name. All right. So step one is setting up choosing the domain name. Now, ideally, we'd like our students to use their first and last name. Again, this is kind of the equivalent of a 21st century business card. So if we can, we would choose, like jakemcEwen.com, for example, just because that's kind of the de facto default, what most people are used to. If that's not available, we kind of go down the line. So we might use, jakemcEwen.info or .net or .org, and if none of those are available or if they're not going to work, then we might try a middle initial. We kind of go through that process. We have students obviously have a really high piece of this process that they can kind of select the domain they want. We generally steer away from using kind of like nicknames or that kind of stuff. We really want this to be their digital footprint. The cost typically is under $9. Around this time of year, there's one company called 1&1, which we'll talk about in a second, that they put a sale out for their domains, and typically it's a little bit cheaper than normal. Sometimes it's up to $15, but I've never seen it any more than that. After we select a domain name, and we bought that for the kids, we use NameCheck. Now, NameCheck.com is a website where you can go. Let's pull this right up here. You can go and you can actually put your username that you want, and it will check all kinds of different other accounts. And really, this is kind of a marketing idea where if you have an account or if a name that's kind of unique to you, you want to see if you can use that other places, so if it's available. This isn't, to create your own account name. This is more for social networking, that kind of stuff. So if you can have it available, that's even better. After we've checked that, we use our host. Now, I mentioned we use the host 1&1. This is a list of all kind of web hosts. GoDaddy is probably one of the most popular ones, but there are obviously all kinds. There's even more than this list. All of them have their own kind of quirks. None of them are perfect. Some of them do things better. Some of them really try to upsell you a lot. So after a lot of, I've looked at a bunch of these, I've actually gone with the 1&1, which is this one right here. It's not that one's the best one per se, it's just the best one I've found experience with. And so what we'll do, we'll actually log in here. It's the number 1, the word and the number 1, and I'm going to sign in right here to my account. Just to show you kind of what it might look like. Now, some of these they sell domain names. They also do hosting, so you actually host your website there. In this case, what we do for our students is we're just going to forward the domain name. So we're going to buy that jakemcEwen.com if that's available, and we will forward that to another student or another address. So here's kind of the dashboard, and there's a lot going on here, but the only one that we really care about in this case is right here, ordering a domain. So I'm going to click Order a Domain. And here's where I can check domains. Now, you can do a little research ahead of time if you want to check domains before this, but we're going to try Jake McEwen. Make sure I spell it right, Jake, okay? And you can see right here we're at .com, so these are some of our other choices. I generally try not to steer away from some of these other weird ones like, .mobi or .name or whatever, just because when you give to people, you say, here's my web address. .com is really the best choice just because that's, the default one. So it also shows me down here kind of prices. So if I get a .org, that's $8.99 the first year. Now, we only buy them for 1 year. We buy them for 1 year, and then after that, we do not auto-renew them. By not auto-renewing them, that means that the student themselves can actually go in and they can, pick it up after that if they want to. I'm going to check the domain right here, see if that's available. And jakemcEwen.com is available. There we go. So I have read the terms and accepted them. So I clicked on here, click Next. If jakemcEwen.com hadn't been available, I would have gone back and I would have gone through and done the process of trying jakemcEwen.net or jakemcEwen.info or some of these other things, eventually finding exactly the one we want, or maybe Jacob McEwen if that works as well. I'm going to click Next right here. And here it is, and we're going to pay for this. And again, it was $8.99, and I'm going to put this code in here. Oops. Let's order that domain.
Maybe.
All right, process successful. So I now own the domain name jakemcEwen.com. It's going to take about 12 hours and really about 24 hours, about 1 day for it to kind of kick in and have total ownership of it. At that point, because that's basically telling the registrar and other servers around the world that, hey, jakemcEwen.com is registered, it's already been taken, you can't use it, and it's already been forwarded. We will then take that. I'm going to jump back here to my other domains, and I'll show you what it looks like. So I'm not going to be able to use Jake McEwen right now because we just bought it. It'll take a little while. But I'm going to show you if I go to my domain center and look at other domains we've already bought, we'll find one, and I'll show you how I can forward it to a URL. So my domain's right here. Let's grab one. We'll grab my son's, Katie Kelly, right here. I'm going to go to Domain Settings and go to Edit Destination. So this is going to show you where that domain's going to. Now in this case, I have a thing called an HTTP redirect where I copy and paste the list right in here. So if I go to my son's site right now, if I go to cadenkelly.com, it will forward to his website. So this is his portfolio that he's been adding little things to. I guess he's got a Lego movie here and a Pinewood Derby video or who knows what kinds of kind of fun stuff. So this is the students. This is what they can build, they can edit, and so forth. But that domain name forwards to this. The other option you can do besides HTTP directing is what's called the frame redirect. Now the frame redirect means that it will stay. You won't see this kind of ugly stuff behind you, the sites.google.com, for example. You'll just see the original address. And it's really a preference, on your part, which one you want to choose, if you want to choose the frame redirect or the HTTP. So jumping back here, the other piece is inside of here, you can find what's called, there's a transfer code. By doing that, what will happen is that if somebody else wanted to be able to transfer that domain, let me pull this back so we kind of do take it off the screencast here. So if within that year, we're going to go in and we're going to turn off auto renew so that the URL won't automatically be renewed year after year. And then at that point, if somebody else, if for example a student, Jake wants to buy or take over his own domain name, as he should, as that's kind of the process here, he'll get a transfer code which we'll give to him, and he'll go in and say, okay, I want to take jakemcEwen.com. Here's the number, here's the code I need to have, and boom, he now owns it, and now we've kind of given it up for them. If a student chooses not to take it, they don't want to own it, or they don't want to go anything beyond that point, no problem. After that year, it just basically goes away, and it's open again for somebody else to take and to buy. So that's pretty much it for domain forwarding. What I'll do for next week, now that we just bought Jake's account, for next Tuesday, we're going to do stage 2 of this, where we'll show how a student can transfer ownership to their own account and do that process. We're not just having, the process of selling it, but doing that as well. Awesome. So that was a question from John. How about buying and forwarding domain names? And let's go to the next question from Brian. And Jake's going to field this one.
All right. Question is, what is Patreon and what is it used for? Patreon is a site where you can post your product, which in our case is the Tech Sherpa videos, and people can make donations to you either once, or they can set it up so that they can give so much a month. And here you see it. We became a patron, so this is what's here. And for one patron, and this is $1 per video that we've made. That's more or less an average. But here, what we have is our main goal, which is $3,000. So Kern, myself, and 2 other students may take a trip to South Korea for a conference in Seoul.
Oh, hold on a second. Let's explain that. What's the story there? Why are we trying to raise money to go to Seoul, South Korea?
Well, there's a Google Summit in South Korea, and Kern has gotten permission to bring students with him on that international trip, and we would like to go, so we would have to raise that money.
Very good. So we've done other trips, right? Like we've gone to Texas, we've gone to the summit in Massachusetts.
Right, but this would be the first international
trip. That's right. So we were invited. It is a they're trying to make it the most student-focused summit I know. The Tech Crusaders will be there, as well as other student teams. And so at our end, bringing our Tech Sherpas there, we're trying to raise money for basically for travel, for air travel, and possibly for lodging. So that's kind of a goal of ours. And I know we have a couple students. I have one student in particular who is going out and buying that passport and making sure they're ready to go. And so that's not the limitation. And we have another student who already has their passport, so that'd be a part of it. But that's a pretty big goal, but hopefully we can get it and go through it and add to it little by little. All right. The other question that we had, it's not really a question, this was an interview that I did with a student last Monday, I believe it was. This is a second grader in one of my elementary schools I work with. Her name's Rosa. And she worked with a product. We worked once a week for like 3 or 4 weeks. We did a little story using Lego stop motion animation. Of course, Legos are huge now, the movie and all that kind of stuff. So they went in and she wanted to make her own kind of story with that. And what we do is we have a little video here of me interviewing her, kind of explaining what that process was and how she did it. So we do a little screen share there. It's backwards. Okay, so let's. Well, today I'm here with Rosa, and we're talking a little bit about what project we're working on.
Yes, we're working on a Lego movie, and we've already done some of it. I've invited some of my friends down so we could do the voices.
Cool. Where did you start? What was the first one you did?
First one we did was we just made pictures of the story so we know what to build.
Like a storyboard?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then what did you do after you did the storyboard?
After the storyboard, we made the set. So we made the set.
Okay, so you made a set of Legos, and then what did you do?
And then we recorded it, and then...
Do you know what you used to record it?
We used the iPad to record it.
You go ahead and show me. What did you do? Yep.
So this is what we have so far.
Nothing's here. Why don't you stay here and wait for the bad guys? Okay, I'll go hide.
Glad the game wardens are not here. Coming soon with the fox trap. I'll see you in the morning.
Oh.
Hey, did you catch the fox? Yeah, let's get out of here.
Oh no, they caught the fox. I'll save him. Nice job. Now let's go.
So Maddie is the fox voice. and Aaron Owen is the bad guy's assistant, and the bad guy was Ryan.
Now, did you have to record it while you were moving people around on here?
No, we just had to move our characters to the, and then we took a picture of it, and then we moved it a little more, and then we took a picture of it.
How hard was that to make the movements, to make the animation? How hard was that?
It wasn't really hard.
Was it hard? What was your favorite part?
My favorite part was when we made the noises.
You like that?
Added the effect.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, and thank you, Rosa. She obviously can't be here. We're at the high school today, so she's down in elementary school. So that was the easiest way we could find to get her to share her story about making that little kind of animated movie. So it pretty much wraps it up. Our last comment is we just want to mention that we're going to be commenting on the Infinite Thinking Machine. Hopefully, next couple days. Chris Walsh was mentioning that on the next show. If you want that address, it's Infinite Thinking Machine or infiniteThinking.org. We'll bring you to that in different episodes. So with that, let's do the outro, and I think we're good.
All right.
Thank you for watching Tech Sherpas. You can always ask more questions or find us at techsherpas.org.
Today's date is June 3rd. Thank everybody for watching.